Welcome to the Training Grounds Creative Shock. Of course, I'm Mr. E. With me, I have Vulpix and Necrotic, but a new entry in tonight's podcast is heading over to Amy, which some of you may or may not know. So, Amy, if you'd like to introduce yourself to the podcast, and welcome.
Hello, I'm Amy, better known as Limelight's better half, and that's how I got into Grand Archive. That's how I'm still in Grand Archive, and yeah, just looking forward to some gameplay.
Great. Yeah, well, what card are you playing tonight? What's your interest to your deck? What spice are you bringing?
You made a good category, because I had actually decided on release of MRC I was jumping onto Nico, so by giving me a Element Champion, it was an easy choice just to see if I can figure out how to play Nico a bit better.
Great. Anything to Vulpix or Necrotic? What are you thinking this week with your Element Champions? What are you excited to see?
Definitely interested in seeing the Nico matchup. I've done Nico myself as well this week. I'm not sure exactly what Amy has built around her deck, but I'm excited to see in the first game.
Neither am I.
Neither am I?
Neither am I. Just change a few things every time I play it, I think.
There's too many cards now to really select, to really find something comfortable to make it work. And then there's so much options now with the new set, so it's exciting.
Yeah, cool. What about you, Vulpixie?
So I've built a Vanitas deck today. Haven't tested it at all yet, so I'm excited to see how it goes.
Well, great. Well, let's get to it. Amy and Vulpix are going to go first today, and then, of course, myself and Necrotic will be commentating, and then we'll swip it up. And I'll be destroying Necrotic later, and you'll get to watch that. So super excited for that matchup. But let's get to it. Good luck, ladies. And
good luck, guys.
I'll chuck up the share screen now. All right. You should be hunky-dory right now, if I've set everything up correctly.
Yep, I can see the screen there fine.
So I'm versing Nico, mate. Dude, I'm playing Polhawk the greatest.
Unfortunate for you.
Following Limelight last week, it's going to be hot and spicy. Well, we can hear you through his mic.
So he takes some inspiration from Polhawk last week, seeing the matchup between me and Jason. Yeah. I saw he gets reaction bonuses, so I've put in everything that's a reaction on my deck in distant units. So I that
plan
first
to just
free
distant
reaction
and react.
Yeah, definitely. And like even that end turn response as well, being able to play a reaction to benefit from that on your next turn and stuff like that is quite strong. Alright,
Water up.
Looks like Corinne's going first, or Vulpixie, sorry.
I'm interested to see with these like mixing of elements, right? If it's actually beneficial to, if you know Vanitas is wind, do you mix it up with a spirit of water or a spirit of fire, or do you just stay stock? You know, like, is there a benefit to the duel?
Yeah, it felt like at the beginning of like ALC, for example, we with these new advanced element heroes, so the wind, the fire, and the water coming in, there really wasn't much flexibility with what they can do compared to like the big powerhouses that go to level 3. However, with the new MRC cards, there definitely is a lot of benefit in doing dual elements that can play out really well.
All right, 3 cards are down. She's opening with a Frostworn Paladin. Interesting, with no floating. Usually I want to hold that.
Yeah. I guess it's good to get a 2-3 on board right away, though, if it's the only thing really you can do with your hand. Looks like Vulpixie's passed on to Amy.
Is that a new artwork?
Yeah, so that's the artwork that can be found in the merch packs. So when you spend $40 on the merch day events that Grand Archive occasionally hosts, you can get supporter packs. Merch packs that get sent out with your order, and you have a chance to pull one of 5 artworks, and this is one of the artworks that you can get.
Oh, that's cool as. All right, we've got a water coming back. I don't know if she's spinning around for you guys.
All right, so
Fractal of Rain.
Very strong card. So you can imbue 2 with this. So you reveal 2 water cards in your memory once you play it. And then at the beginning of your recollection phase, you may reveal the top card of your deck. And you will put that into a graveyard. You get the target which player you want to do that. Now, depending on the opponent, they might want to do their opponent, or they might want to mill themselves to increase their chance of getting floating memory into their grave.
Shit.
And it's reservable as well, so they can use it from this point on as a way to put down cards and just reserve that as the cost to use.
God, burning cards in enemy graveyard. That's toxic.
Oh, and there we go. We've got another refracting missiles. I think it's been cast by Amy over there. So that deals 1 damage and then an additional +1 per Fantasia that you control, or Fractal. So floating memory, which is great for the level up next turn, and 2 damage into Vulpix right away.
That card, Refracting Missile, I've played it a few times, and I've really not seen... we talk about a lot with the fractiles, hoping in this new season of cards we'll get to see more of that play, because sometimes you see them, but I feel like I didn't see them much as like a meta play with the fractals.
Yeah, definitely. I think there'll be a lot more this season.
Straight up the Vanitas level up.
Vanitas level up there, so level 1. Gets a Glimpse 4. There's another win card on Lineage, however there isn't, so she doesn't get that on Enter, I don't believe.
Yeah, it doesn't get the Glimpse, you're correct.
However, she can now play Water and Wind from her hand, which is fantastic. Immediately, right away.
What'd you lose there? Brimestone Bishop.
Yes, that was the Vanish. 2 for Imperial Recruit.
Imperial Recruit is such an interesting card. And it only took me a while to understand Fostered as well. I think a lot of people in the community, when I play this card, don't understand Fostered that well. They just assume that it just gets the +1, not knowing you can actually hit the card to stop that from happening.
Yeah, that's right. So if the card takes 1 damage at all, the Foster does not occur on the next turn for the opponent.
Tenoris coming out. Okay.
So level 1 Tenoris, banishing that floating memory from the refracting missiles and drawing for turn.
See cards in hand. Oh, she's got a Lost in Thought. I'm very keen to see that card get played.
I think looking at this deck at the moment, I think it's very similar to what I had built coming into this
really?
today. So yeah, it'd be good to see it bed into you with a Fireball Gog.
Another Fractal coming out.
Nice. So bringing it in.
Each player puts the top card of their deck into their graveyard.
Song of Nurturing. And a floating memory for Amy, which is Idle Thoughts. Strong. So going to have an easier time to get to level 2 next turn.
If you have a ton of... I didn't even think about that, actually. If you have a ton of floatings and you're just milling those floatings, you just have a chance to draw a floating straight in. Sick.
Alright, we've got another Refracting Missiles coming in. There we go. So they'll hit for 3 this time. Going into the Frostborn Paladin.
Yep.
And that's Amy's turn. So 2 floating memory ready to roll next turn.
God, that's scary.
Yes.
And what's an ego? She's building towards an ego, she says. That's that whip she can bring out and do some damage, right?
Yeah, I think it's Mage Bane Lash. So it's a 0 attack but 4 durability weapon. And it benefits from getting increased attack, I believe, from additional lash counters that are placed on Nico, and the way she obtains these lash counters is by floating memory being banished.
Yeah, right. I'm getting a bit excited for this. These new cards. GCR's coming out. Classic. Cerulean Decree. That's a beautiful card. My friend actually drew a foil of this the other night. I think it looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, the Kree cards are beautiful because they've got Vermilion, Cerulean, and I can't remember what the Wind one's called. But yeah, fantastic artworks. I think you've got Tristan on the Wind one, and you've got Diana on the Fire Vermilion.
Coming down with an Inspiring Call.
So she draws 1 into memory.
Trying to increase her tempo.
And attack increased on the Imperial Recruit for this turn. She'll now collect the draw. Oh, we can see a balanced Gildas occurring here, I reckon. Which is what
dude. If anyone plays with Vulpix, you know she's a Gildas fangirl, you know?
Yes.
Anything for Gildas. Here we go. Surely.
3 going down.
3 going down. We Cerulean Decree. It's a Gildas. This card, I don't see how this card... It's like anybody plays Allies plays this card, right?
Yes.
Do you think that makes it just too strong?
It is a very strong card. And as the game has gotten, progressively more relevant and people are playing this game more and more frequently, being able to achieve balance on these units is becoming so consistent now. And I think any Allies player needs to have this card in their deck to just be able to put as much damage and pressure on the opponent as possible.
A 3 cost and a 4/3 is like insane.
Really? And like even once you put it down, you just swing for 4, and then you still have your hand to play. So 3 is a healthy hand at the moment for a water player at the moment with that water spirit out. So it looks like Amy's banishing 2 floating memory to bring out Nico.
Whiplash Allure. Whenever a card flame is banished from your grave, put a lash counter on Nico. On champion hit, you have the opponent put X cards of their deck into the graveyard, where X is the amount of lash counters on Nico.
So yeah, if you have 7 lash counters, say goodbye to 7 cards on top of your deck. It's a very strong way to just mill out your opponent and lose those vital cards that could potentially be coming up.
God, Magic the Gathering days, or what was it? Even Hearthstone had those mill mechanics where you just like play a warlock and like burn people out. Classic. She really needs to get rid of this Gildas, relieve some pressure.
The Fractal Rain just triggered there, so she milled the top card from her deck, which was the Idle Thoughts. Recollection. I think she forgot to do it before she recollected, but she just quickly did it. Because, as with this, with new decks, we're all experimenting and seeing how these new mechanics play.
Oh, Iceplan Sam coming out.
So we're playing 5 down for that. So 2 of the reserve costs and 3 down into memory. So 5 cards are going to go into memory. Into grave, sorry. And then if there's 5 or more in grave, then it's going to come in for an additional 5.
Holy! Does she have a face here? She's going to delete. She is. She's swinging a face.
Alright, she managed to get that many. Yep, so hit for 8. Unreal.
That is insane. Are there any cards that you can benefit with that? Okay, so if she had a weapon out as well, she would get that bonus damage from the weapon, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it also depends on the lash counters, unfortunately, with Mage Bane Lash. So, she needed to have the floating memory banished to be able to get the lash counters on for the weapon to hit harder.
Looks like a Terraforming coming out from Vulpix.
Yeah, with only 5 cards with 2 reservable costs from Amy, you could just be helping for next turn to try and find lethal, because she's got some big damage on board now.
This is Bang Glory Retribution.
Cool, Hazy Trapper's coming out, so a prep counter going onto Vanitas.
Defensive play.
4 coming in from Gildas at Amy.
There's the balance.
Passing there.
This Cleric spell here, it costs 2. The next time your champion would take 4 or less combat damage and prevent it, your champion's first attack without a weapon during next turn is X with the amount of damage prevent. So if you could prevent 4 and then you get just a free 4 hit for a 2, that's a nice card. It's like better than a Resolute or something.
Yeah, it can be quite strong for turning around the game. Especially into this Nico matchup with massive heavy swings as well, coming in with like Icebound Slam. If she was level 2, she could have played that previous turn and hit very hard the next turn on her next turn. And so I think Amy's thinking on what to do.
She needs to clear. She's got now the prevent. She's got to deal a lot of damage, and she's running out of health very quickly.
Yeah, so there's 6 currently. 7 damage on the board with the Hazy Trapper as well, which is going to take her to 23. So she's got to think about what her best move is at the moment. They're trying to find lethal sooner, or possibly cancelling out combat next turn.
I mean, I think for my play there, I think you had to ice plan the Gildas, right? Hitting face is good, but if you've got another way, unless she has something to wipe the board in her hand, like that Gildas is coming in 4 every 10. That's a huge amount of chunk.
It's hard though, because you've got so much. I don't know how Amy's exactly built this deck, but you have to be relying on probably smaller ally units to come onto the board to deal with Vulpix's units. something such as powerful as Icebound Slam, costing 5 and potentially hitting for 8, can be quite a strong move to put into the opponent's champion, and just overkill for your Gildas.
Vapor Jet Shield. I've never seen this card played before. Unit Link. If damage would be dealt to Link unit, prevent 1 of that damage. Okay.
So Tariff Ring's being popped by Vulpixy, so everything's going to cost an additional 2 to attack. I reckon this will be a pass.
Is that regalia item going onto a champion?
I believe so, yes. Because, champion counts as a unit, so she would have linked that shield to her unit, so every single time she gets struck now, 1 damage will be prevented. Alright, so Amy's doing the milling, I think, from Fractal of Rain. I think they forgot.
Yeah.
Okay, chose to do it to Corinne, Vulpixy. Freezing Hail gone into grave.
That's another cool artwork from Freezing Hail.
Yeah, so that's from the supporter pack 1 packs.
You guys always get fancy cards. When I expect from Shoutout, I don't get the fancy cards.
All you have to do on Shoutout your decks is each card that is in the edit screen, on the right-hand side, there's a little line at the end of each card that has 3 dots. Mm-hmm. You can view different variants of the card if you click on those dots. There's a menu that says variants, and it'll load every single variant for that card. So if you want to, pimp out your TTS decks, then you can do so via that method.
Hell yeah.
So we've got 2 reservable being played.
Flash cannons coming out. Frost 1 Paladin getting banished. This is a strong play here.
Alright, so banishing a floating memory. Getting a lash counter on Nico. And drawing an additional card and a buff on the Paladin. Good combination.
I love Frost 1 Paladin, honestly.
Such a cool card.
It is.
The intercept as well is going to help.
3/4 intercept, and it has the ability to draw an extra card. Insane. It's good. I can see Song of Frost in the hand there. So ideally, I'm assuming she's going to pass. Corinne's going to try and go for the...
Paying down 2 for... Ooh, fracturizing
Then she's
the shield.
Just using her fracturize here to get a floating, right? So she can get a level 2.
It's looking like it, yes.
Oh.
We got 2 going down.
A reaction for a Frostbind? Oh,
Yep,
damn.
Yep, strong.
That's the rookie of water, isn't it? Please.
Alrighty.
Vulpixy cracking it. I'm on screen right now. She's going to be sitting laughing. She's going to be livid for weeks, Amy happy with herself. Look at her grinning away.
Yeah, I'll be hearing about it later, probably.
That's a highlight.
Alright, so Vulpixy's considering, by the looks of it, what to do on a material. So that's ruined the potential level up.
Yep. That's interesting. I was playing in one of a championship store, and we were talking about balancing, and someone frostbound me to interrupt the balance, which was I never even think about using it in that way. Making them either pay extra to when the Gildas is coming down, even though they have 2 cards, but then that calls them to have 5 cards and then ruin the balance. And I was like, that is a good play.
Very strong. Yeah, different ways to just utilize cards.
I know what's going on here. Looks like
Sorry, she's accidentally looks by the looks of it, put her memory into her champion's lineage, so she's just currently just taking her memory back now. Alright, so it looks like she's regrouping the cards, and she's banishing something here. If
you were playing in a Sword Champions, you probably would have called Judge at this point, but, sometimes we play for fun. Going for the level up here.
Yeah, it's quite difficult, though, to be able to put all these cards in your champion's lineage, though, in real life.
Yeah. Here comes level 2. Whenever you active a spell card, he gets +1 without a weapon. So he's already at 1. And if you deal 7 or more damage, the opponent materials cost 1 more. Yeah. I think Vanitas, it's kind of I'm interested in what builds you can make with Vanitas with different, with the new cleric items coming out. Like, is it cleric automatons? Are they out, or am I just thinking
I think there's Deep Sea Deacon. I think that's a cleric automaton. There's lots of very interesting combinations that could be done with Vanitas being a cleric and then starting off as water and going to wind.
You played on the weekend, didn't you? Am I correct?
Yeah, I went down on the weekend and played.
Did you see any new decks that were like, what the hell's going on here?
There's a lot of people playing just a bit of alteration around Recollection, so a lot of Sylvies and a lot of Tristans. There was a Water Nico player, and there was also some ally players as well, so like taking a new spin on Wind allies. But mainly around automatons, with how strong like Andromica is, for example.
Gilda's going for a swing.
Swinging 3 into Frostworm with the 3 units. Got 1 health left. Retaliating on the Korhazi Trapper. Frostworm Paladin's gone. And looks like Vulpix definitely should pass with her hand by looking at it with those two.
Yeah, nothing much going on there.
Those two reactions.
This is good. Should be able to get some good blocks. Swinging for 1, big damage coming in.
However, it won't happen because of the Vapor Jet shield currently in place because it prevents 1 damage taken.
I'm surprised. Like, I'm really not sold on the Tristan deck. I'm keen to see. I know it's so early in the season. I'm keen to see what combinations come out. But I also think, like, I was like, cool. I played the slime deck, right? But I feel like I'm going to go out and play now. I'm going to send some crazy card combination out, right? I'm going to start playing automatons. I'm going to start. I know there's some like new domains cards. I feel like Tenoris should be coming out of the woodwork. Like, I'm surprised that people are so adapted to the slime. They're not having looking at those other combinations of decks.
Like the slime is very strong for a starter deck coming out. Going into level 3 and be able to just play one of those advanced element slimes out for free is just insanely strong.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Tristan, it does need a lot of help from external cards to try and go into a Sylvie, for example. But they seem fairly balanced.
Tarafarine's coming out here, and also we're seeing the
mill from Fractal Rain.
Mill.
Amy recollects and draws for turn. Looks like we got.
Surprised she's not bringing out that weapon.
Yeah, same. Oh, here we go. This will be interesting here, how this reaction goes down. So this will be very interesting. Ravishing Finale, hitting for 6. Additional cost activate, get to banish 2 floating memories from your graveyard, and if it hits the champion, for each damage counter hit, the controller puts 2 cards from the top of their deck into the grave. So it could be potential, I think Nico's currently got 3 Lashbane counters.
Yep.
It's hard to see without moving the screen.
Yeah, it is. She's got 5 actually.
5, so it could be losing 10 cards.
She banished 2 more, yeah.
Sorry.
Wow, 10 cards lost. That is insane. Well, she reacts though. She could take 2, she'll only lose 4. Dude, this is fun. This is a fun deck.
Very interesting.
So 2 mills, that's 20 cards already gone. Oh my lord. Surely she reacts here.
She's not choosing to respond.
She's taking the 6 damage.
Okay. It's going to be very difficult in TCS to be able to just easily count out that many cards and put them into your grave.
Let's get 1, 2.
1, 2, okay, she's dragging them out one by one.
What's that? For each damage counter on the hit champion, their controller puts the top 2 cards from their deck into the graveyard. Is it 10 cards?
I don't know why she's banishing so many cards. 37, unreal.
Why 37?
Have to talk about it later, I guess. I'm a bit uncertain as to why that's happened.
Wait, can I retaliate with my chain? Alright. Surely I have some flow.
Well, if Vulpix was looking for any floating memory, I think she'll have some now. There's a lot of cards.
Yeah,
to grave.
exactly right.
So is the point of yours to make me run out of cards?
I suppose, yeah, if you just mill your opponent, that's it.
I mean, 37, but I don't know what the math is. We'll have to argue with Amy and Vulpixie, but on champion hit, so it hits, unless you're including Everest's 6 hits, is that what it includes as? Is each point a hit?
For each damage counter. So it's currently, since Vulpixie was on 10 life, and she went to 16,
Yeah.
for each damage counter, you have to get rid of that many as well, I believe. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So for each damage counter on the hit champion, their controller puts 2 top cards. So since she went to 16, she had to get rid of 38 cards or something like that because she lost. Yeah, I can't work out why it was so many. But
37. So when you hit and summon an object, are you saying that if I swing 5, you get 5 hit damage counters on you? Is that how the game works?
Yeah,
Is that the core of the game?
Yes. So damage counters is what the terminology I think is used in the game to just reflect how much damage you've taken overall. Alright, she's put down something. Pay down 2 for... Oh, she's muted. Okay.
And then on champion hit, remember Nico has her passive. On champion hit, you may have the opponent put X cards of their deck into the graveyard, where X is the amount of lash counters on Nico.
So maybe that's where the other 5 have come from because she had the 5 counters on.
Yep.
So it looks like the tariff is being popped.
I think she should have gone for the react there. I really like, especially how much cards.
Read that reaction card again. I don't know why she wouldn't have blocked it with that at least.
Yeah, reaction cards from Ben Glory is 2 less to activate. The next time you champion, take 4 or less. Oh, 4 or less.
4 or less. So it was more than 4.
5 damage, wasn't it? 6 damage.
Mm.
So it only prevents if that's kind of triggering, isn't it? So it only works with a small amount.
She's popped to Order Bauble and drawn an extra card.
Interesting having Song of Nurturing into the deck. She must just like that card.
That was just a lot of allies, just to try and keep a healthy board state. No, she's swinging
Pays 2 to swing.
Taking 1 only though because of the shield that's currently active.
Nice. She's not going to get balance.
Vulpixie's passing.
Surprised she just didn't send it. She hasn't really... I guess she's going to try and block low damage, but...
Tariff prevented it.
No, but just sending Rimsoul Bishop down. Like, sure, she has a floating to draw a card and just get that extra floating.
Yeah, that's a good point. Things with new decks is inexperience. Need a lot of practice.
Is the Mage Bane Lash coming out? +1 for every Lash counter. She currently has 6. It's a 6/4 weapon.
And whenever the champion's dealt non-combat damage as well, it's a recover. Insane.
Fractal of Rain making a mill. She only has how many cards left?
4 by the looks of it.
4 cards left.
Ouch.
Coming in for 6.
And that's probably lethal
Can't
if it goes
prevent
through,
it.
which I think, with that,
That's
that's
22.
game, I think.
Karina's out. Vulpixie lost. Amy takes the round.
Banglory Retribution, yeah, okay. The big hits from Nico prevail.
Yeah, well, I'm keen to hear them talk about what's going on here. I don't understand the 37 cards, but I'm sure I'm going to be told.
Oh, well, we worked it out because it's 16 damage counters, so 2 for each one, and then 5 lash counters that was on Nico.
It only did 6. Only hit for 6.
No, but she already had 10 counters on her already, is what I'm saying. So she had already taken 10 damage from the game. Then she was hit with the thing.
So she has 16 health pass, and then we're saying you double it to...
Yeah, there's 2 cards
32
per
plus
damage
5.
counter.
36. What? There's no way that's the interaction. What?
Hello?
That's insane.
Hello, welcome back.
Hello, welcome back.
Some big mills.
We were trying to work out the calculations. We think we worked out in the end, and we were saying that because she was at 10 health and you took it to 16 health, that means she has 16 health counters on her, double it to 32, and then plus 5 for your passive. So 37 cards gets milled.
37, yeah.
Holy,
I've got very good at Nico math really quickly.
Corinne, how'd you feel? That was a bit rough there. I'm sure we were talking about this. I can see there you've got this mitigation retribution when I was like, oh, this card's kind of cool, but then if it hits higher than 4, you kind of can't play it.
Yeah, the hits were too
That's
big.
what
It
she's
was,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
No good.
I kept, for the first time, this is my favourite card, the Fractal of Rain, is my favourite card.
So
Because I can choose to mill me early to give myself float, or I can choose to mill them, or water, or mill them late, because I don't want to give them float early. I forgot to trigger it almost every recollection phase in that game.
We saw
And I love that card. I've never forgotten to trigger it ever in my life, and I forgot it about 4 times. But anyway, we got there in the end.
It's the thing with new decks as well, and just the new cards and experiences, just the new procedure and having to follow certain ways that they unfold. Yeah.
Well, I'm interested to see your Nico deck. See, is it similar, different? Bit of both?
Pretty similar. Slightly different. Some cards that I didn't see in your one that might be a bit different, but yeah, I kind of built it from scratch.
Nice.
All right, well, we'll swap over. Now, I'll make Corinne big boss.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe fire. And then I'll Amy, you change colour. And then if you share
blue.
screen, then we'll dip and go into Discord and you two are up.
All right, chat soon, guys.
Wait. So I need to be the other colour.
Can
You need to be black.
There you go.
Cool. Thank you.
Now, let's see how we go as a spectator. I think I'm a much better player.
Yes, I can hear you. Might need to mute ourselves on the...
Okay, so my screen should be shared now.
Yep, looks like it.
I'll try and view everything.
Do some fancy footsteps. Now, I am probably going to be a terrible commentator, but at least there's a Nico deck out there, so I might know a little bit about what's going on the field.
That's good. I'm not going to know much about either of these decks, to be honest.
Now, do we know what Mr. Ree is playing? What's he built?
I think he said he was going to be building Polk Hawk.
Nice. I know Limelight's been playing around with a fun Polk Hawk.
Awesome.
Does some big damage.
Yeah, he was playing Polk Hawk last week.
I really like the dual element versions of the deck. I played Nico Fire Water in ALC, but have chosen to kind of just go water this deck because that's where all of her support came from.
Yeah, fair enough.
Let's see how we go.
Got Trained Sharpshooter coming out from Mr. E.
Everyone loves a cheap 2/3. Spirit of Water. So we're going the purely water Nico build, which is what I've seen mostly in MRC. Haven't really seen any combo elements yet. And as Necrotic was saying earlier, just way too many cards that you want to try and fit into her at the minute, so it's hard to look outside of water.
Yeah.
Now, Chilling Touch is something I don't run yet, but it is a good cheap floating memory. So that's a good start from a floating perspective.
And a Frostwand, very nice for Necrotic.
Straight into the buff counter, draw a card. In imbuing my favourite card, the Fractal of Rain. Let's see if Matt has a better time of remembering the trigger than I did today.
Yep.
But I think it actually is my favourite card that's come out in MRC for this deck. I really enjoy it. I think I just like the flexibility it gives you in the deck.
So, evading the swing on the train sharpshooter.
Mm-hmm. So, imagining... So, the Frost one was coming in for 3, preventing 2.
Retaliating to kill the Frost one. Very nice.
And making it distant. How did it kill?
So it gave it distant, and distant gives trained sharpshooter +2.
Yeah, but it's a class bonus effect.
Oh, it is a class bonus. They've made a mistake there.
If we're thinking correctly there, not sure that necessarily should have.
No, I don't think it should have. I don't think they
would have been
realised.
only retaliating.
No, they have realised. Yep.
I'm not good with missing things like that, as I proved in game 1, but the joy of not being as familiar with all the cards is I read them through and through, so not getting the range 2 effect on that occasion, which is a bit of a blow for Mr. Reed, because it would have been nice to clear that Frostborn, that buffed Frostborn early.
Yep.
So attacking face while the Frostborn is down. Getting that card back from Chilling Touch earlier. Necrotic going into the GCR.
Oh, he's remembered his Fractal.
Remember the Fractal. It's an interesting card, Crystalline Ruins. Whenever an ally enters the field under a player's control, rest that ally, unless they pay 1. Interesting. Could be helpful.
Like
I guess I feel like the Nico deck can be weak to a really aggressive allies matchup early, and that could help in that allies matchup. Either they're going to have to play less allies because they're paying all the extra costs, or they're taking a turn off by having them come in rested.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting card to include. I'm learning, I'm assessing things to see if I should have it in my deck. See if I can make any improvements. At the beginning of each player's recollection phase, the player puts the top card of their deck into the graveyard.
Both of them are
interesting. Also cool. So kind of hoping to get some floating memory for Matt, but then also starting the mill process for Mr. E. Wave Rider. Taunt, so he's got a lot of board protection out there at the minute between the Interceptor and the Taunter. Now, backstepping, probably, I think, predominantly to get some cards down into, maybe into memory to level up. I could be wrong, but I think like just really needed to be able to level. Going into Diana 1. Keep in mind this is a Polkhawk deck, so Diana into Polkhawk. That ranged effects. I hope to see some of these element champions make a bit more of a splash in the meta this set with some of the support cards that have come out for them.
Yeah, it'll be good to see a bit more of these, hopefully.
I think everyone loves the Diablerie, but the Vanitas bonus on that.
Yeah, unfortunately I never got to play it. Got milled.
Just a casual 37. Now we've got a trained sharpshooter this time with the range 2 coming in off the evasive to kill that Frostworn. So really showing why Mystery had to start leveling up. Win Bauble. Interesting watching Matt play the Nico. He's willing to sit at level 1 a lot longer than I am. I'm usually kind of forcing up straight into my Tenoris Nico to get my Guardian cards on online and get those lash counters growing, so that when you can get that first big hit through, you can really start to push the mill. Could also be that I'm always feel way too vulnerable at level 0 as a spirit.
Yeah, it's scary living with
I always
just
feel
15
too close
health.
to death. Oh, we're going for a slam by the looks. A 7 cost. Can't think of any other 7 costs in the deck. Paying 7 for an Icebound Slam is too cheaper once you're a Guardian, but still a great card early. Putting top 5 cards into your deck, and if at least 5 of the cards in your total graveyard are water, you get the +5 bonus. So looking like this will come in for 8 damage.
8 straight to face.
And if I don't know too much about Polcork, having not played him myself, but I think has some big damage of his own, so probably wanting to put some pressure on early. And hopefully Matt also hit some floating memory in that mill. I think I saw a Storm of Thorns, but that might be a class bonus floating memory. So Mystery bringing out a bullet, keeping in mind he hasn't used his lineage release to bring out a gun. Probably thinking he wouldn't do that until he's Polcork, but
Yeah.
you never know. He might want to go back to being a spirit. Probably a bit too risky now that he's taken 10 damage, though. So clearing out the board. And that would be important because Polcork does big damage, but he wants nothing that's going to get in his way. Otherwise, that damage turns into not too much pressure.
Well,
Looks like we'll finally get into level 1.
Into Tenoris.
Guess the other added benefit of that is he has a much bigger card hand size than I usually do at that time, by holding off a little bit and really focusing on some cycle. Looks like he's got some of the pieces in his hand. Got quite a few of the couple more of the domains though, which is probably not exactly what he wants to see right now, but does have that ravishing for when he gets there. Obviously needing to be Nico to get the Nico bonus, and sometimes depending on how your floating memory pile is going, you do need that additional 2 floating to pay as a cost. I'm going to Chilling Touch again.
Chilling. Oh, just passing to Mystery there.
Something I've definitely am starting to learn is how to kind of play that a little bit more reactive role when you're a water player. Definitely not something I'm very good at. And I don't think I did it particularly well against you, because I went I wanted to slam you, do an icebound slam, so I didn't hold anything up and leave myself a bit vulnerable sometimes.
It worked out well, though.
We got there. So this time, materializing into a gun. Hope we get to see some Polkhawk shenanigans soon. So we're taking the taking the hit from the quick draw piercer and the hit from the train sharpshooter. Passing and getting that card back from the chilling touch. Matt going into Nico by the look of it. Unlocking some of those Nico cards he's got in his hand. Not sure how much floating he's got sitting there. Keeping in mind he can't play that Ravishing unless he has 2 float. Because it is an additional cost to play the card. Yeah, so he's got a Storm of Thorns. And the fact that he's paid, he's got plenty. He's doing a Lost in Thoughts, so paying 4, which means he'll get to draw 4 cards. That Lost in Thought will move into the graveyard, meaning he'll still have 2, and potentially still holding up cards to. So that was all pre-recollection, finalising the 2 triggers on the board there. Plenty of floating memory over there now for a Ravishing. So paying 3 for that Ravishing.
Oh, taking it back.
Taking it back. Potentially looking at the floating memory component first. So he gained the 4 lash counters before for the 4 cards banished off the Lost in Thoughts. If he was to play a floating, that would be another 2 lash counters. So with the Ravishing, it would be mill 2 cards per damage counter at the resolution of the attack, plus you may choose to mill the number of lash counters off of Nico's effect too. So Snowfaring the trained sharpshooter so that it can't wake up. Bringing out a Crystalline Ruins now. So I wonder if we didn't have the float for the Ravishing in the end. Potentially.
Probably did. So I saw him throw like a Shieldmate and stuff in there as well.
There's a Shieldmate and a Lost in Thought, so he does have the float.
Yeah, he does have the float for it. Unless he's miscounted.
Maybe he just thought with 45 cards still in memory, in deck, that it'd be going all in without being
he's got
able
3
to
float in his grave.
And looks like, has he held up the Hailstorm? Got the Primordial, the Snow Fairy, and the Hailstorm. So the Hailstorm Guard is a good card in this one, but he can't afford it at the minute. Because it would cost 4. So Polkhawk has joined us on the board. Range 2. Ranger cards now cost 1 less to activate. Does have that Diana lineage release when he wants to bring out a gun.
Ship Engineer.
But for now, So just deciding to, I think, pay the extra for the Crystalline Ruin so that it comes in active, taking the damage and passing turn by the looks of it. Bringing out the Lash. So if he banishes a floating for this, he'll gain 2 counters, one from the banish and one from the on-enter effect for the Lash itself. Resolving the 2 triggers on the board at the start of Recollection.
Did he do his Lash counters?
I didn't see him add the 2 Lash counters. So he'll have to pay the 2 float for this. Paying the 2 floating. So he should be on 8 Lash counters.
Looks like
He
he's
should have
forgotten.
gained 2 off the Magebane Lash as well. But he's swinging for 6 and 6. He's swinging for 12. So swinging for game anyway, because of the number of Lash count. And just mill the whole deck as well.
Didn't matter that he forgot.
I actually think that last hit was even bigger because I think he missed the 2 Lash counters for the Magebane Lash, but when those counters add up, and I think you saw that in the game before as well, Karoon, when the counters add up on that Lash, gaining damage per Lash counter plus the mill on top of that, it can be pretty brutal, particularly if you can get through one hit. But I do think that when Polkhawk gets his big hit in as well, he can be just as damaging. Shame we didn't get to see it on this particular occasion.
I don't think Mr. Reed drew into it.
No, but I do think the Nicos are going to be popular.
Very
Holy.
yes.
I've already seen a few Nicos at locals, and I think we've just seen 2 games as to why people might be playing a bit of Nico.
There's
I think
the
you
lost
even
of
had even
thoughts.
more damage on that last one there, because I think you missed the 2 Lash counters for your Magebane Lash coming out.
Nah, I went from 4 to 6 Lash counters, so I was hitting for 6 with Magebane Lash, and then the additional 6 on Ravishing.
You get 2 more counters when you banish the 2 floating from the Ravishing, so you would have been on 8 counters.
Oh wow, okay then. Yeah.
Because they're an additional cost that you pay pre-damage calculation.
So yeah,
They
that's
add
was
up
like,
quickly.
Do I airship gun? I was like, surely he doesn't have lethal. And he's like, I hit you for 12. And I was like,
I hit you
oh,
for
fuck,
12,
he has lethal.
and
Yeah.
also mill the rest of your deck.
49 cards.
I was playing a game at locals recently, and I think it was opening weekend, and I hit someone for X amount of damage. We didn't even, and he was sitting there milling the amount of cards we'd calculated, and someone looks over and goes, he's just dead with the damage. He didn't even need the mill. And we were all sitting there counting it, and we didn't even realise that we were actually dead. I think Nico is a bit of a threat both ways there, because the hits are big.
So do you think, like, we're getting close to the end of the podcast, but like in my mind, if players start to play Nico, then we're going to see again more Rye and stuff players who are going to peaceful and invis, and they're just going to counter that players who you never get to attack, like you had with Diana. You just never got to attack. You know, you're freezing hails, like that. Then might sneak through if you're in a local situation and you're seeing
Might
that
see
play.
some more Song of Frost decks out there.
Yep.
Anything that can stop that big hit. Things like like you said, a Spell Shield Arcane that just actually stops the whole damage
Can you
coming through.
imagine that?
Yeah.
And then they get 50 counters, enlightenment counters themselves. I don't know. I think that Nico can still be a bit vulnerable to allies. I've been thinking about, do I run Serene just for the extra? I've got it in my sideboard at the moment, just for extra health against the ally matchups. And we all know there'll always be an ally player.
Yep.
So I think it's got some weaknesses, but it's fun for now. And while people aren't teching into it, I'm going to keep playing it.
Yeah, exactly right. You just think people don't know about it. Like, what's going on? Like when he put that
Exactly.
loss of thought, and he's just like banish 4 flowing, draw 4 more cards. I was like, dude, you have so many cards in your fucking hand. You're a water. Like, what is
I was
happening?
saying that. I was saying kind of definitely some different cards in there that I don't run, and I can see the benefits. You have a bit more of a hand size, I think, than I did. But I liked a few of them. I liked them.
Like even the fast play, Lost in Thoughts, just getting rid of that, paying that down, banishing that floating, and then getting those brand new cards out to see those lethal combinations. Very strong, and not only does banishing those floating memory benefit Nico as well, it benefits your hand size, so it's very strong.
I loved it. I thought you were halfway through a turn and it was all pre-recollection. Doing it all.
Well, that's it for Training Grounds this week. Now a couple of matches. I'm just super chill and excited to see the new combinations. And next week, I'll think of a new, I've been thinking
challenge.
A new challenge. And of course, any of the listeners can put in comments to our videos of like what they'd like to see. So far, we did Champions with Elements, and I can't believe it had a technical term. Corinne, you called it last week, or maybe Matt can remember the name, what those cards are. I remember what they're called. They have a name. If you know the name, you know the name.
Okay.
And then we also did, what did we do the first week?
We just all
card
chose a
and built
card.
decoration.
Oh, yeah,
Just all
card
chose
we
a card.
enjoyed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we'll do next week. I was thinking like cards that cost 3 or less, or cards that cost 4 or more. I don't know. We'll just mix it up each week and see combinations. So I'm excited to be making content with you guys. I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode, and we'll see you next week. So
Thanks, guys.
bye for now.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for playing, Amy. Appreciate you.
Thank you,
You're
Amy.
Much more kinder than Limelight. I'm sure the fans out there are excited to see your pretty face instead of Limelight's hairy face. So appreciate it. Anyway.
I'm sure he'll be back soon.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Much love, everybody. Thanks for watching. We're Creative Shock, and this has been the Training Ground. So see you next week.
Bye.